Crimson Trace announces Link, the world's first wireless laser and white light system, combining a green laser and 300 lumen light with instinctive activation for AR-type rifles. Link, smart, simple, secure. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Number one national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
Hey, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. Yeah, we talk about guns, optics, all the rest of the stuff. We also talk about hunting occasionally. It's not a pure hunting show, but we talk about that. One of the things that it's interesting. One of the things when I talked to my father, Rich Gresham, when he was involved with the American Sportsman Show on ABC TV 50 years ago now. And they would go hunting all over the world. But his background was he was a professional wildlife manager, graduate degree in that. And he said, he always wanted to get the message of managed hunting in the role of hunters in modern conservation. And he always got that into every show. And I think probably some people take it for granted that they know the story. Some people don't know the story at all. But almost no one knows what's going on in terms of a change that's taking place that actually threatens conservation in America. Joining me to talk about that, explain what's going on and maybe what we could do to help, Cyrus Baird joins us from the Council to Advance Hunting and the Shooting Sports. Hey, Cyrus.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
I am well. First of all, before we get into the rest of it, tell me about what is the Council to Advance Hunting and the Shooting Sports?
Good question. So we're a nonprofit group, 501c3 based out of Washington, D.C., and been around for coming up on 10 years. And basically, we kind of sit at the intersection of state fish and wildlife agencies, sportsmen and conservation groups, so groups like Ducks Unlimited, National Wild Turkey Federation, stuff like that, and then the hunting and shooting industry. So we work very closely with those three sectors to help basically encourage more folks to get out and hunt and shoot, and then basically kind of what you were just talking about and helping the general public make that connection from hunting and shooting to conservation.
Right. So let me go over the kind of the cliff notes, and I'll go fast, and you correct me when I'm done, okay? Because I'll probably screw it up. But basically, a majority of the funds for conservation that's put on the ground throughout the country comes in really two forms. One is the sale of hunting licenses, fishing licenses, of course, too, but in this case, talking hunting. That's a state revenue source. The other is Pittman-Robertson funds, and that is an excise tax placed on firearms and ammunition and other gear. And that was, if you go back 80 years, the interesting part is that was a tax that sportsmen requested be placed upon themselves as a part of the conservation movement at the time. And it's been really the engine that has driven the conservation movement. And that's not just things that get hunted. That's all wildlife that's protected, because once you protect habitat, you protect everything. So how'd I do?
I think you hit it right on the head. The majority, in some cases, for some state fish and wildlife agencies, the funding that they get coming from license sales and from the Pittman-Robertson funds make up 80 to 90% of their budget. So if you think about it, I mean, the on-the-ground conservation work, like you said, that not only benefits the game species that we hunt, but all wildlife and clean air and fresh water. It's coming from those who hunt and shoot.
How much money are we talking about that hunters put in?
Billions of dollars. I mean, if you look at just one organization or industry that I know off the top of my head, Vista Outdoors, which they have a couple of gun manufacturers in their portfolio, they paid $87 million just last year.
Just one company.
They're just one company. And so, folks like Federal and Primo,
Federal, Remington,
Mossberg,
anybody.
Any of those groups, yeah, They're paying millions and millions of dollars each year.
And I want to make the point, it's not the companies that are paying the money. They are collecting the money, but it's you and me, anybody who buys guns and ammo. We're the ones who pay the money because that excise tax is placed upon the price of what we, are paying. So hunters and shooters themselves, individuals, are paying for all this conservation.
Correct.
All right, but there's a problem, isn't there?
There's a big problem. We've lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 million hunters just in the last 5 to 6 years. In the late 1980s, we had somewhere around 17.5 million hunters. United States Fish and Wildlife Service does a survey every 5 years. The latest survey that they put out goes through 2016, and the numbers were just released last September, and it shows that we have somewhere around 11.5 million hunters. So 17.5 million hunters a couple of decades ago, down to just over 11. And like you said, if those state agencies rely on hunting licenses and federal excise tax dollars from hunters and shooters, if both of those things are down, that spells, bad news for conservation.
Now, gun sales, of course, are up, so that should help and offsets that somewhat, right?
Correct, but it's a fluctuating market, and actually through the first couple of quarters of this year, PR dollars are actually down from where they were last year. But again, the number of or the amount of funds that have come in through PR in the last maybe decade is obviously skyrocketed. But it's not a sustainable model right now as far as the number of hunters that we have.
So, all right. So, what do we do? I'm looking at this bill, H.R. 2591. What is that? What's it going to do?
So that legislation is something that I'm pretty passionate about, and the group that I work for is, and a number of different organizations around D.C. and across the country, for that matter. But basically, it allows state fish and wildlife agencies to use portions of their PR funds that they get every year to promote hunting, to educate their constituency, which is the people who live in that state, about hunting and shooting and the positive benefits that it has for everyone. There's a similar piece of legislation on the fishing side, the Dingell-Johnson Act, that collects funds through fishing tackle and, gas at the boat ramp and stuff like that. In the Dingell-Johnson Act side, state fish and wildlife agencies are allowed to use that money to promote and do marketing campaigns around fishing and boating, but you can't do that on the hunting side. So that's one thing that it'll do. Another pretty important piece of that piece of legislation is that it'll take an additional $5 million off of the archery excise tax of the Pittman Robertson Fund, and that'll be put into a big pot through a competitive-based grant system called the multi-state grant system, and that money will be earmarked specifically for what are called R3 initiatives, regionally and nationwide, and R3 stands for recruitment, retention, and reactivation. And so it'll be used by state agencies and NGOs to help come up with ideas and strategies and programs to help get new audiences into the outdoors and hunting and shooting. That's the only thing the money will be used for. So we're hoping that it'll spur some momentum and get more folks into the outdoors.
So what we're trying to do is take some of the money and use it for recruitment, to get more people to take up hunting or to keep them in hunting and shooting sports. Does it take money away from projects on the ground, which would be conservation projects?
No, it doesn't. So the language in this bill is that it will allow the state agency directors the final discretion on where they spend the money. So there may be a state that says, we'd rather do this wetland restoration project, and that's completely fine. We just want the state agencies to be able to have the flexibility to, if they have portions of money that they want to use to be able to promote hunting to their state, that they can do that. Again, it's the word modernize is in the bill title, and that's the word that I like to focus on the most. It's perfectly okay on the fishing and boating side, and so we're just trying to modernize it to mirror that language, and so states can have the flexibility to do that.
All right, so how do people find out more about it?
You can follow us. Our website is just the initials for the council, CAHSS.org. We're on Facebook and Twitter at Thanks for Hunting. And then, honestly, if you want to keep up with the progress of the actual legislation, Congress.gov, it's bill numbers HR 2591, and the Senate bill is 1613. So we just passed out of the House Natural Resources Committee a few weeks ago, and Congress is coming back in after Memorial Day recess. So we're looking to make some moves and maybe push it to the floor here pretty soon and pass out of the House to go to the Senate.
All right, it's the website is CAHSS.org. Cyrus, thank you so much. I wish you luck with it. We'll keep following this and see how it progresses.
Appreciate it, Tom. Have a good day.
All right, you take care. All right, open lines for you right now, 866-TALK-GUN. I want to know, are you doing some shooting? What are you taking to the range? Also, they had this program where the Sheriff's Department taught people to throw tennis balls at active shooters in churches as a way of distracting their aim. Kind of reminds you of that Pennsylvania school where they said, yeah, we have a box of rocks that the kids can use to throw at active shooters. What is your reaction to that? 866-TALK-GUN.
Now at LibertySafe.com, you can buy a Liberty Safe at a great price and receive 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR, with some safes as low as $20 a month on approved credit. Peace of mind, lifetime warranty, and in-home delivery service. Go to LibertySafe.com now for 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR. LibertySafe.com.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
Built for personal and home protection, the Smith & Wesson M&P 380 Shield EZ pistol features an easy-to-load magazine with load assist button, an easy-to-rack slide, and the M2.0 crisp trigger and enhanced grip texture. With its easy-to-rack, easy-to-pack, and easy-to-shoot design, the M&P 380 Shield EZ is perfectly sized 380 protection. Find out more at smith-wesson.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
This is Jeff with Black Hills Ammunition. Our new rifle ammunition line, featuring Hornady's extreme low-drag bullet design, is a big step forward in long-distance performance. When you want the ability to shoot way out there with accuracy, flat trajectory, and minimal wind effect, our ELD ammunition is the right choice. The high ballistic coefficients and Black Hills Ammunition carry manufacture gives you the advantage. Black Hills Ammunition, the power of performance.
Did I see this right? Is FN ending the production of the high power? Yeah, looks like it. John Browning design, of course, the Browning high power. Some have said that's the gun he designed when he figured out what he should have done with the 1911. I would not go so far as to say that, just because I'm not that brave. But the Browning high power is a great design, was a great design. It looks like the report is that they're going to stop production of that. all things come to an end. It's one of those deals. I remember a guy used to say, if you find a fishing lure that you really like, buy 3 of them, because sure enough, they're going to stop producing them. If this thing works for you, get several of them. If you find a gun that you like, don't assume it's going to be available next year or in 3 years or in 5 years. Gun companies drop guns. They stop production of guns. I just was talking to a gun maker the other day, and I said, man, I'd really like to get one of those. They said, well, it's not in the line anymore. What? Yeah, we stopped making that one. They don't announce it when they drop a gun. Nobody makes an announcement that we're no longer offering the 4-inch version of this. It just isn't there anymore. And it happens without fanfare. It happens without warning. And all of a sudden you're going, yeah, but I meant to get one of those. Yeah, I know. Me too. I meant to get one of those. But it's not available anymore. So there it is. Don's on line 3 out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Hello, Don. You're on Gun Talk.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
I wasn't supposed to answer. I'm sorry. Quick question, or actually I have 2 questions. Are you familiar with, I'm looking, it says 7.65 mm Mauser, and then it says Mauser Model Argentina, made in Berlin. Let's say Low Berlin in 1891. Were these used in World War II? And
are you talking about? You're throwing me a curve. That's not what you said you were going to ask about. So now are you asking me about a rifle or about a caliber? What are you asking me?
About the rifle itself. I'm looking at the information on it now. It says Mauser Model Argentina 1891, manufactured in Low Berlin, and then I guess the caliber is a 7.65 or. Yeah, 7.65. My eyes are getting kind of
bad here. Without looking it up, if I'd had time, I'd have had that information ready for you, but I don't. But I gather you wanted to ask a question about a detective wearing a gun.
Well, that was my second question. Yeah, I had mentioned 2 questions. 2 questions to him. That was my second. Well, that first one, if whoever you're having things to look up there, if they come up with it, I was just wondering about if they were used in World War II, and then when were they sporterized? It's a bolt action. In the second question, I was going to a doctor's appointment at a big hospital. You probably know Louisiana is a big hospital up here in the doctor's office. I got off the elevator. Or I'm sorry, there was a gentleman getting off the elevator. I was getting on. And he was kind of dressed in, nice clothes, not shirt and tie, but street clothes, kind of similar to what you would see these detective guys wear, and he had a badge on his belt, right there on like at his hip. Mm-hmm. And as he turned and went to my left, I observed he had his gun right there in the back of the small of his back, at his waist, a pistol. And I was wondering, do you think he was just so used to wearing it he forgot it was there, or is that a commonplace? I was reminded about you saying that officer.
That is a way that some people carry the SOB, small of back carry. I am not a fan of that for several reasons. One, it's really uncomfortable when you're sitting in a chair. You're leaning back against your gun. It's pressing against your spine. 2 is if you get knocked down or fall on your back, you can get a serious spinal injury doing that. And 3, drawing from that can be problematic. I would ask him, try to draw that pistol with your other hand. If you're planning on doing it right-handed, now draw that pistol left-handed. Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, I know. I don't know why, but there you go. I don't know why people do that, but people have different ways they want to carry. So I don't think he forgot it, not at all. I mean, he's got his badge on, he's got his pistol or revolver or whatever it was on, and he's carrying small of the back. It's a choice. It's not for me, but it works for him. Look, I appreciate the call, sir. I want to talk to Brian on 1 out of Greenbrier, Arkansas. Hey, Brian, throwing tennis balls at a shooter? What do you think?
Well, I think that just helps the active shooter pick his next target. is basically all that does.
I'm almost at a loss for words at the idea that we're going to teach churchgoers to throw tennis balls at an active shooter. Or, I mean, I get it. Look, if you got nothing else, I can see maybe rushing him, trying to knock him down. You're going to do what you got to do in the heat of the moment. But if the sheriff's department is going to come and teach a church, a group, about effective ways of stopping an active shooter, an active killer, number one ought to be shoot him. Number one ought to be, you need a team, an armed team that trains together and is effective. They know what they're going to be doing. They move like a trained choreographed dancer troupe, and they know what the roles are, and they work with the local police to know what everybody's going to be doing, so that when the police come in, they're going to know that you guys have guns and you're working the situation. It's close, and I'm trying to find the right words. It's close to irresponsible, in my view, to tell people you now have an effective means of self-defense with this. The police would not do that. What's going to be their first reaction? I mean, they're going to shoot the guy. Give me a break. I don't understand it. And maybe there's more to the story, but I think it's part of the larger package of sometimes they say, we'll give them something to do even though we know it's not going to be effective because it makes them feel good. Okay, yeah, people feel better about it. Maybe there's a benefit there. Maybe that's all there is. By the way, this deal in San Diego, I think it's going to turn out to be a case of a mentally disturbed person maybe trying to commit suicide. Unfortunately, in the process of the police response, a police officer shot himself in the leg or the foot. Reminder, when people say, well, what do the police think about this gun control deal? Why would you ask them? They're no more informed and many times less informed, and certainly not as well trained as a lot of people I know. A lot of cops don't touch their guns for a year at a time. Is that who you want to listen to? I'm just saying.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Okay. During the break, because it's nice when we have, like a 3 to 4, even 5 minute break. So Jim and I are talking about ammo and 10 millimeter and this and 40. So we're online during the break while we're doing the radio show and looking up the velocities of different loads from different manufacturers. And then so as we're coming back, he says, well, I hate to take you away from, looking up and talking about guns, but now it's time to talk about guns again. So there we are. That's what we do. Oh, by the way, if you have not, I'm going to make a pitch here. You really need to check out the after show because we have such fun there. And we got Jim and Tom joining me, or Jim and Michelle, depending on who's showing up that day. And we just have a ton of fun. And you can listen to the after show a lot of different ways. Obviously through Gun Dealio, our free smartphone app, which you certainly should have on your phone. You can also check it out on YouTube. We put the entire Gun Talk show every week on YouTube as a video that you can just play and you can listen to. You can download the podcast and listen to it as you commute. Tons and tons of people do that. I would ask you to share that information and check out our Facebook page. We have a lot of things going on there, and we actually make some announcements occasionally there. New deals, new sweepstakes, new things we hear about. So the Gun Talk Facebook page is a great resource for you. And, of course, we always have Twitter running. I try to feed that as much as I can. And if you want to follow me there, I am at Gun Talk on Twitter. All right, let's go to Carson City, Nevada, where Tim has joined us on line 2. Hey, Tim, you're up. Credit card companies. What do you think?
Hey, Tom. Yeah, it occurred to me that what these companies are doing, these credit card companies and banks, would seem to be in violation of civil rights of the business owners, and particularly if it's going across state lines, would make it a federal matter. So I would wonder if say, the Second Amendment Foundation might be able to file some kind of proceeding complaint to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights as a civil rights violation and put the feds on them to try to prevent this from happening in the future, nip it in the bud.
Well, I don't know. A lot smarter people than me, I'm sure, are looking at it right now. I know the NSSF is checking it out. Of course, it's credit card processing companies. It's not the companies that are actually issuing the credit cards. The action is being taken against other companies, gun stores or online retailers or that type of thing, whether it's a restriction of rights or is it in some kind of infringement on commerce, restraint of trade, or somebody could say, hey, it's their private business and they can do business with whomever they want. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to fall out, but I know a lot of really smart people are looking at it now, and it may be that it ends up with some type of legislation being put forward to stop this, because this has become a real thing. It's beyond being virtue signaling. It is now a massive restraint of trade when you have the major financial companies who are just simply saying, we won't do business with you. Banks telling small companies and medium-sized companies, we're closing your account now because we don't do business with you anymore because you sell guns, or you sell gun stocks, or you even sometimes just sell optics that go on guns. It's a real problem, Tim. And look, I appreciate the call, sir. I tell you what I will do. I'll ask Alan Gottlieb about it. We'll have him on the show here next week, and we'll ask him if that's something that the Second Amendment Foundation might be able to look into. Let's see. Let's talk to Lisa on 4 out of Arkansas. Hello, Lisa. Welcome to Gun Talk. What's up?
Yes, I'm considering getting a concealed carry, and I have a 1-year-old, and I also have 3 older children, ranging from 14 to 5. And, the purpose of getting a concealed carry is so that you can use it when you need it, if ever needed. How then do I teach my older children? You see Mommy draw her gun, you hit the deck. And how do I work around the 1-year-old?
Those are some of the best questions possible. There are several answers to this. One is that you're really going to need to get some training beyond just a self-defense or concealed carry class, particularly about what do you do with the 1-year-old. It's not particularly difficult. You just have to know a few things to do, like if you're holding on to the 1-year-old, and it comes to how do you carry. Please don't carry in a purse if you can possibly avoid it. It's a terrible way to carry a gun. I know sometimes it's the only way, but imagine trying to hold on to your child, a 1-year-old, and draw a gun from a purse at the same time. It's a tactical nightmare. So the others, I would make them part of the process. If you got a 14-year-old, certainly old enough to be shooting, going to the range, taking classes, nothing wrong with that. And just having, we're going to have a sit-down talk here. This is what we're going to do. But you need to have a plan. You need to have a word or a phrase or something. And it may be as simple as if I say, get away from me. That's your phrase. They know to just beat feet and go somewhere, get away. Because that way, if you're going to end up pulling a gun and trying to defend everybody, maybe there's gunfire coming. It may be, and the other thing is you need to have a word for them, and this is part of the process, because the solution is most of the time it's not going to be pulling a gun out and using it. Most of the time the solution is going to be let's get out of here. So you need to have a word, and you need to practice it like a fire drill with your kids to say, and I don't care what it is, it might be rutabaga, or it might be whatever your word is, but when I say this word, you stop talking, you stop doing what you're doing, and you do exactly what I tell you to do. So if you say, rutabaga, get up and follow me right now. Even if you're sitting there in a restaurant, they all just put everything down, stand up, and walk with you. And you go walking through the kitchen and go out that way because you saw something going on in the front. And you need to practice that so that they know that that is an immediate response item, and that's how you can get them out of harm's way. The gun is a good tool, and it's part of the whole package, but there's more to it than that. And I would seriously encourage you to train as much as you can. Take some classes. look at some of our videos online. Go to the Gun Talk YouTube section and take a look at that. I think that you'll find a lot of great material there that you can use. And look at our First Person Defender series, a video series on YouTube. You will learn a ton about that. I congratulate you for taking responsibility for your own safety and encourage you to just make that a part of your everyday process. You'll figure it out. And look, kids are smart. Don't try to hide it from them because they're going to know what's going on, all right? 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham.
Think all ammo's the same? Think again. Aguila Ammunition uses the highest quality materials and is one of the world's largest rimfire manufacturers. Want silent 22 ammo, powderless Super Calibri, and Sniper Subsonic? Merely whisper. For light recoil and big performance, mini shells make any shotgun a pleasure to shoot. Match grade and the Hyperfast Super Maximum and Interceptor 22 loads get the maximum for your rifle or pistol. Visit aguilaammo.com/rimfire. Feed your firearm.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
This is Jeff with Black Hills Ammunition. Our Honey Badger line was designed in cooperation with Lehigh Defense. It's a product of my 37 years in law enforcement and 35 years in ammunition manufacturing. This bullet is the future for self-defense. It's what's in my weapon right now. I think that is the ultimate testimonial, when a guy is willing to stake his life on it. For more information, visit the Black Hills Ammunition Facebook page.
Tom Gresham, 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. Gary's on line 3 out of Reno, Nevada. I got a thought about, we're going to repel an active shooter, active killer with tennis balls. What are you thinking here, Gary?
Well, you know, a friend of mine used to be a captain for the L.A. Police Department. He was an expert on police tactics, and he testified at the Rodney King trial, and we talked afterwards about it. And he basically told me, here was LAPD's theory at the time. If somebody brings fist at you, you bring a nightstick. If that don't work, you bring either at that time they had tasers, but it's like you bring your gun. Whatever's coming at you as a policeman, if one gun's coming at you, you better come back with him with 4. In any situation, whoever comes with the most force is typically going to win the day. And this is what happened in these schools. All these people came in there with guns and were met with no force, and so obviously they're going to kill people. They're going to do as much damage as they can, and because they were met with no force, they didn't go out in a body bag. So until we get situations where innocent people, wherever they're at, can meet the bad guys with more force and coming at them, this is never going to stop.
Well, you're exactly right. You know, consider this. We pretty much have the information. We have the data there. When a madman goes into a public place to kill a lot of people and nobody resists with overwhelming force, that madman continues to kill people over and over and over and over again. Virginia Tech, a lot of these places. But when we have schools or other venues where you have either a school resource officer or a good guy or a good gal with a gun, and that person pulls a gun out and shoots the bad guy, it stops right there. It's really as simple. And people say, well, you know, what if the good guy misses the bad guy and hits an innocent person? Well, that would be terrible. But is that worse than the bad guy having free reign to kill as many people as he wants? And I'm not saying it would be, you know, a good thing at all. I'm just saying you have a lot of bad choices here, don't you, Gary? I mean, because if somebody's coming in and shooting people, everything's bad at that point. You're just trying to make it less bad than it already is.
Exactly, and it looks to me like these last two shootings, I believe they didn't even get shot. The bad guy did, and it's like however long they had, 5, 7, 10 minutes before the police showed up, and then they put their gun down like, game over, that was sure fun, I won. And it's like, my personal opinion is, until the bad guys are taken out in body bags, they're winning. Because they know that they can go into wherever where there's no guns, and they're not going to be met with any force.
Well, I'll tell you how they win. They win when we make them famous. They win when we make them celebrities. They win when the news story, even when there's a good guy who stops a shooting, they use the bad guy's name 6 times, and if they mention the good guy by name, it's once. But we're making the bad guy famous, and I mean that's the win for them. But I go back to, how do we win in the immediate situation when the clock is ticking and people are going to be dying or getting shot every few seconds? You shoot back. And when that happens, it stops the shooting. Either the guy gives up, typically either gives up or shoots himself. I mean, that's pretty much what happens every time. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Is there a situation where one of these bad guys decided to get into a shootout with anybody after they were taking rounds coming their way?
I don't remember one. There should be.
There may be, but I don't remember one. I think they either shoot themselves or they give up. So what we want them to do is to do that as quickly as possible to save lives.
Well, the one guy in Texas, the NRA member who took his AR out and he shot after the guy had killed 21 people in the church. They had a little exchange, but the thing about it is once he took fire, he got in his car and he left. And
he stopped shooting other people.
Exactly. So, the thing about it is we can put all the armed people into schools, and that will help. But the thing about it is there's so many soft targets. Now where are they going to go? They're going to go to a mall. It's like the deal in Vegas. Where'd they go?
That's what they do. They're going to go. That's exactly what they do. They go to another place. I mean, we had somebody attacked a Jewish school, and he said he went to a bunch of different schools, but they all had armed guards. And he finally found one that didn't. I mean, they go shopping. They're going to go to the soft target. So what's our personal takeaway? My personal takeaway is I'm not a soft target. I'm not going to be a soft target. You may not be able to protect a whole mall yourself, but you can protect yourself and the family right around you. You have to decide that you are not a soft target, okay? I mean, it's you, it's your life, it's your wife, it's your husband, it's your children, it's your grandchildren. It's up to you. If you don't do it, who else is going to do it? It really is that simple. It is up to you. The whole idea concept of self-defense and personal protection is an interesting one. And it's interesting and to see how far apart some people are. Some people say you simply should not do anything to protect yourself. Not if it involves offering resistance or violence against another person. But when you push them on it, what they say is, you should call someone else to come and be violent against this person. They don't think of it that way. And I think some of it is a mental protection for themselves because they think, well, if you choose to protect yourself and I don't, then am I being less than I should be? Am I being less responsible? But if I can make it such that you don't protect yourself, then me being, in my case, my belief, irresponsible enough to not provide for my own safety and the safety of my family, then I can be okay with that because nobody does that. Interesting. But as I say, but if you push them, you say, well, they say, well, you shouldn't, offer resistance. Violence just begets violence. Really? Okay. Then what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to call 911. And then what's going to happen? Well, the police are going to come. And what are they going to do? Well, they're going to do what they have to do. They will visit violence upon violence. So you want to outsource your safety. You won't take responsibility and do it for yourself. Question for you. How do you explain to your children, I will not take care of you? Seriously, I'm serious. How do you explain to your children, how do you tell them, I will not protect you? I will not take care of you. I will call somebody who may or may not come. I will call somebody who has no legal duty to come. I will call somebody who may come too late. The odds are that would be the case. But I personally am not going to protect you. I'm not going to protect my grandchildren. I'm not going to protect my wife. I'm not going to protect my children, my husband. How do you explain that to somebody? I am so, and this is Tom speaking, I am so irresponsible that I will not provide for your safety, nor my own. Here's the other thing. People say, well, I might help somebody else, but I wouldn't do anything to protect myself. Really? How many people depend upon you? Wife, children, husband, other people? If you won't protect yourself, you're visiting horror upon them. Never thought of that. It's an interesting thought process. How do you explain to your family, I will not protect you. I will not offer any kind of resistance. I'm going to outsource our safety. Although, I know there are people who, when you ask them, well, you say, well, of course you have fire extinguishers in your house. And they go, no, we don't have any fire extinguishers. You go, okay, I give up. I don't know what to say. But if you have fire extinguishers, they perform the same function as a self-defense gun. They take care of the situation, try to hold it back until the cavalry can arrive. All right, your takeaway for the week is this. Practice. Dry fire, please. It is an amazingly good technique, a good tool, a good training method. If you want to do more than that, get yourself an airsoft gun that is a duplicate of your carry gun and practice with that. The more trigger time you have, the better you are. The more you physically handle the firearm safely, the more safe you will be. Don't do like this cop just did, answering the call, shoot himself in the leg. That, familiarity can breed contempt. It also can make you better and can make you safer and make you more competent. So make the promise to yourself and to your family. Don't outsource your safety. Take care of it yourself, because when the chips are down, you're the only one who's going to be there.